Hello, I'm Dr. Ilene Serlin. I'm a psychologist and I'm a dance movement therapist from the United States, from San Francisco. I've been invited to come talk to you and share some of what I think might be helpful as you face this very distressing virus and all the consequences that you're living with today. I have been in China. I've been working in China since 2008, both as a psychologist and as a dance movement therapist. We have a training program at the China Institute of Psychology in Beijing. So there I've really come to very close professional, personal, collegial relationships with some of the psychologists who have invited me to offer some input into the situation to be of any help. I come as both a psychologist and a dance movement therapist because I do believe that some of the things that should be very normal for people who are dealing with life-threatening challenges, facing death, facing not trusting others. Are you going to get contaminated? Do you feel paranoid? Do you feel scared? Do you feel depressed? Do you feel confined with your family? You feel frustrated? So these are reactions to be expected. And I guess the question is how best to deal with it. So I understand that there's a very hardworking hotline in place, and a lot of the counselors and psychologists whom I know are busy offering services night and day. What I'd like to be able to offer, and which may be in addition to this, are some embodied practices that I do as a dance movement therapist, because much as the thinking and the emotions feel like they're in the mind, they're really in the body. So tension and frustration and fear of touching or being touched are obviously, the body needs to relax and feel secure again, and to develop the strength and the confidence to heal and feel secure at times when the world is moving fast around and it's full of uncertainty. I remember actually when I worked during the earthquake here in San Francisco, one of the things that parents would ask me all the time, or the media, was what to do about the children. The children always saying, Mommy and Daddy can control everything and keep us safe. And what happens when Mommy and Daddy can't? It may be that your child is asking these questions now, but there's a truth to be faced, which is life is not always certain and stable. All the more reason to be able to say, we do our very best. It usually is sometimes, though, we have to find our own strength and our own resiliency and our own stability in order to better face the inevitable challenges that life faces. So this talk will really focus on some embodied way of cultivating that kind of resilience and stability in the body. The first thing is how to work with emotions. Emotions really flood us, and research shows that we're in confined spaces and we can't express our frustration or our anger or our grief. We tend to lash out at other people. So one of the things is kind of how to work with your emotions as they get unbearable. So the first thing is to find, really, instead of reacting to everybody, to each other's emotions, to find a quiet place inside that doesn't react, where you can recharge yourself. If you can't literally leave your room and you can't even close the door, how do you recharge so you can continue to cope? So the first is, I like to use the possibility of nature, which has always been helpful to us human beings to understand powerful forces. So when I think about images from nature, we've often heard sort of be still like a mountain, which is a powerful image to give you gravitas and weight, and so you can't fly around. Another one is a tree. It's used all over the world, the tree of life. It's used because it's very strong and it can weather storms. So, and here in Chinese, I've seen in China some very beautiful forests and some beautiful trees. So bringing nature inside is always a good thing if you're in an apartment. So if you want to try this guided imagery, if you want to just, wherever you're sitting for a minute, first of all, imagine that your feet are touching the ground, and from your feet like this, you want to really feel the ground, even in an apartment. Feel the ground under you, because when we are anxious, we tend to sort of fly around and not be in control. So we want to get control back. So the first thing is to stabilize yourself, feet on the ground. Now, one way to start this imagination with the tree is to imagine that from your feet are roots growing down into the ground. Way, way down, like securing you. So feel it getting nourishment. Roots from your feet. And then you feel yourself sitting in the chair and you feel your weight. So you're giving yourself to the chair and you're letting the chair hold you up. So you don't have to use all your muscles, which when we're anxious, we tend to tighten up. And when we're scared, because fight or flight, we want to run, but we can't, so we just freeze. So how do you relax that? Well, one way is when you ground yourself, then you can you can release your muscles and just let the chair hold you up, so you can let your muscles relax. Now imagine your spine is a big tree and it's very solid, and you have the tree and then you have your roots down into the ground. And maybe you have branches, but mostly you're this big tree. And as you've been there, and you've been there 100 years, you've been there hundreds of years, and it's a blue sky and there's birds, and then all of a sudden you see dark clouds on the horizon, and it's coming closer, and then you feel the winds come. But you're a tree, you're solid, and you're breathing, and you keep breathing. And then the clouds come closer and it starts raining and the winds come, and you feel your roots and you feel your tree and you keep breathing. And pretty soon the winds are going all around you and the storm's getting higher and higher, and you feel in the middle of the storm there's this nice quiet, stable place where you're watching and you're listening to the storm, but it's not carrying you away. You're stabilizing yourself. And the storm goes and goes and you're stabilizing yourself. And you're breathing, and you're breathing. And then the storm gets quieter, and you're breathing, and you keep breathing. And then the storm starts going off again, and you're breathing. And then the sun comes out, and the sky is blue, and you're breathing, and you're breathing. And you've been there, and you will be there, and you're stable, and you're part of nature, and you're not getting caught up or swept up. When you feel like you're flying around or you can't control emotions or outbursts, bring it back to this center and stable. So you're not either lashing out and hurting people, hurting yourself, taking it out in emotions. So develop that. Now there's a third way that involves even more of the body. So if you're willing, because also we need exercise if we're cooped up. So here are some simple exercises that you can try that will keep your body a little more flexible and less tense. So the first thing is, again, to stand. So if you stand, your feet should be, this is the most stable position. Feet right below your shoulders, so you have a good base of support. You don't want to topple over. You want to be stable. So the first thing you do is to stabilize yourself simply by, in ballet it's called a plie. You bend your knees and you come up. You keep all this relaxed and you just control what you can control in life, which right now is your legs. So you really concentrate on just what muscles move. Probably haven't used them in a while. So
start waking up your legs, and you get, the lower you are, the more stable you are close to the earth. Okay, so you stable this part. Once you're stable, you can start stretching your upper part, because maybe you've been sitting, maybe you've been scrunched up, so begin to open up your breathing. And making circles. Big breath, big breath. You can lean back and even open your heart. Big breath, big circles. Till you're breathing slow and steady. Feel your own rhythm, your own breath. In and out. In and out. Till your body feels nice and strong. And then the next part is you've got a strong, flexible body. Now we want to create a safe space. So we're worried about viruses and germs and being touched and food and money and jobs and family, and we want to kind of, not just inside here, but we want to create a place where we feel kind of safe. So it's called a safety bubble or a safe space. And truly, so when you breathe out, we all live in, so this is as far as I can reach, that's as far as I can reach, this is my personal bubble. I live in this space here, that's mine. And we all need privacy, we all need our space. So when you can find this much room, just feel and take up your space. And you can actually take some time, it's a good way to stretch, it's like a bubble. Just feel how far you go in all directions. And while you're doing that, it's also a place to just get the kinks out of your body, because this is your bubble. And at this point, you have a boundary, and maybe nobody's going to come in. So you can twist and turn, you can get rid of emotions, you can get rid of frustration in this safe place, imaginary walls. So that's the next. Take advantage and just see how you need to twist and turn and wiggle. Okay, safe space. 3 is you live with other people. And if you go outside, there's other people. So how do you have your safe boundary? Well, you can pretend like there's a door. You can invite people in, or you can push them away. You have some control over this boundary. So if people are coming near you, you can say, slow down, please. Or you can say, hey, wait a second. Or so you can control somewhat what comes in, what comes out. So we try that. Once you know how much room you take up, then it's like your little house. You decide who's in and who's out. And you can literally push away, or people. Just say, I need a little time, or something. But you can decide who's in, who's out, and when. So those are the 3 things. Stabilize yourself. Begin to stabilize and make safe the space around you. And then 3, sort of control the border. And use your body. Hopefully you'll feel better. You'll get rid of emotions. You'll find your quiet, calm in the middle of any storm that comes. So I do hope this can help you. If you can, maybe a few takeaway points from this. One is not to be surprised. There are strong emotions and strong reactions that happen to being in close spaces and with such a serious threat. So expect that there's going to be emotional responses. And number 2, you also know it's going to pass. So how do you get through this time and develop your own resilience, strength, calm, and sense of feeling safe? In your body, we've learned a bit about relaxing in the body.
We've learned a little bit about some imagery to use maybe in a kind of a relaxation response. We've learned about stretching the body, and we've learned about stabilizing, breathing, and establishing a sense of security, a base of security, and then a quiet place inside. With that, we also learned about establishing your boundaries, feeling safe, and you can say yes and no to people approaching you, so get back some control over your own space and your body. Develop the strength to cope with what you are already doing as best job we all can.